Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today I'm going to share with you a fun birthday card using two new stamp sets from the January through April 2024 mini catalog. They are the Hooray for Surprises and the Carnival Treats stamp sets. I do have a special gift I am going to give everyone who watches this video, so make sure to watch until the very end. I made this card for the TGIF Challenges blog. Every week on Friday, they post fun challenges to help spark your creativity. There are always a good variety of challenges, from great sketches to fun color combinations and unique themes. If you haven't seen the blog, make sure to jump over and check it out. I'll link it up here in the top right corner. This week, the challenge is Make a Wish. Here's the fun graphic that was created as inspiration. You can use the color scheme, theme, or cake image as a starting point. I was inspired to create with the text, Make a Wish, when I saw this challenge prompt and want to share my process with you in this video. Did you know that you can participate in the challenges each week, create your own project inspired by the current weekly challenge, and upload it to the TGIF blog post using the linky tool at the bottom? See the guidelines on the TGIF post. If you're interested in purchasing any of the products that I use in this video, I have all of the links listed below in the description. So let's begin the card working from the back to the front. So the first thing that I want to do is stamp this background image, which comes from the Rays of Light stamp set. I'm just going to go ahead and take that out. And I'm going to use Lemon Lolly ink on some Lemon Lolly paper. So I've inked that up. Then I've got a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of Lemon Lolly cardstock, and I'm just going to lay it right on top. And then I'm going to use my brayer. There's lots of uses for a brayer, and this is one of them. I'm just going to start in the middle and work my way to the edges. And I think I saw this move just a little bit on me when I went to touch it. So we're just going to double check that it looks good. Oh, perfect. So that little movement really didn't matter too much. So this is just a really great use if you don't love stamping large images like this one. I have such a hard time holding it and making sure that it's going to be exactly where I want it. So I like to put the paper on the stamp, and using that brayer is really helpful. So next I'm going to go ahead and just trim this down a little bit because I want just a small border. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off an 1/8 of an inch from one side, and then an 1/8 of an inch from another side. So my final measurements are 4 1/8 of an inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. And this is now ready for my card base. I'm just going to add it with a little liquid glue just to hold it in place. And I want the circle to be at the bottom. And just spread that out with your bone folder. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. Next, we're going to go ahead and stamp the donuts for our card. The base color I'm using is crumb cake. So I need 3 donuts in crumb cake. Then I need to clean it, and I need to stamp the image again for the frosting color. So I wanted to do one in pink, and I used Flirty Flamingo. And I really just need the frosting area. So if a little bit of cake moves out of the frame of the paper, that's okay. I also wanted a purple one, so I'm going to use Highland Heather. And then the last color is Balmy Blue. So here are all of the images stamped, and we're now ready to move on to the next step, which is to fussy cut them out. So you're going to fussy cut out each of the crumb cake donuts all the way out. So just along the outside edge. This will be our base. So we'll apply the frosting color to the top of these crumb cake donuts. I love that the name of the ink is perfect for the donut itself. So we also need to cut the center out. So to do this, I'm just going to take one of the scissor blades and poke a hole, and then you want to cut almost to the edge of the image. Just make some slits going all the way around. That's the first way to cut a shape from the center of something, because it loosens up the paper. And then from all of those little pieces, I like to just quickly trim them off. So this is just a really rough start to my circle, just giving me more space to work with. So you can see how that's really rough. And then I go in and I try to go a little tighter and closer to the edge of the image. A little more smooth as well as I work all the way around. Okay. Doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that for the other two donuts. So I've done my 3 donuts here, and now I'm going to do the frosting. So for this one, we're just going to cut out around the frosting. So any part that is actually the donut, we will remove. So you'll go in between the images here and cut inside that white line. Now we're also going to cut inside the opening. This time, however, we're going to cut up to the frosting. So we're going to remove the donut from the inside as well. So you can go ahead and do the same steps, but you're going to cut up to that frosting line. And then just do a rough removal of that paper. Okay, and then you're going to go in and right along that line, just cut the frosting so that we can layer it onto the donut. All this work is totally worth it because these donuts are so cute. Okay, so it's going to look like that. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that for the last 2 donuts. Okay, so I've got my frostings all cut out. as well as my donuts, and we're now ready to layer these on top. So I'm going to flip over, actually that part probably doesn't matter because I'm just going to add the glue to the frosting area of each crumb cake donut, and then you just add the frosting right on top so that it matches perfectly with the frosting from underneath. So it's really quite easy to line these up. Aren't those just the cutest donuts you've seen? And you can make these in so many different colors. You can make them to match the theme of a party. You could use them as little toppers. You could add a little stick to the bottom and stick them in donuts, make a cute banner with them. I just love these. So I wanted to add a little extra to the donuts. And so I've taken my pearlized enamel effects and I'm adding a little bit of this over every single one of the sprinkles. And I found the easiest way to do this is to keep your bottle upside down. So you're going to store it so that the liquid inside goes to the top, and then you just drag it from one side to the other. And it's not going to be perfect, but you're going to get this really fun look. It does take some time for these to dry, so once we're done here, we'll move on to the next step, and hopefully they'll dry before we need to add them to our card. So make sure that when you're moving it around, you don't accidentally touch where you've already added. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this exact same thing on the other two donuts. So while those are drying, I'm gonna go ahead and stamp my greeting. This greeting comes from the Hooray for Surprises. It's the Make a Wish. I'm gonna stamp it in Azure Afternoon on some basic white cardstock. This is just the leftover from my donuts. Then I want to cut it out with a fun die cut. You can use any label die cut that you have. This one comes from the Thoughtful Expression dies, which is another new product from the mini catalog. And I just want to use this small one down here. I'm just going to go ahead and place it so that the greeting's in the center, and I'm going to cut it out with my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I love how those dies give a nice little stitching detail around the edge of the label. So that's ready. So let's go ahead and work on these fun candles. So because this was a Make-A-Wish card, I really wanted there to be a candle element. And I didn't have anything from Stampin' Up, so I decided to make my own SVG file to make these candles. So I'm going to show you how I put them together. So the SVG file cuts out 4 images. So you have the border, you've got a background piece that goes behind the detailed candle, and then you have 2 flame pieces that go inside of the candle flame. And an SVG file, if you're not familiar with that, is something that you can use in an electronic die cutting machine, such as Cricut, Silhouette, Brothers Scan and Cut. Those are just some of the machines that you can use it. And I did create this file, and it is available on my Etsy shop for $2. So if you're interested in purchasing that, you can jump over there and grab that. I will include a link to that in the description below. So I wanted my candles to have a little bit of depth, and so I'm going to show you a technique to do that. So after you've cut out your background pieces from different colors, you're going to take your coordinating blend markers. So I've got Balmy Blue here, and I'm going to start with my dark Balmy Blue, and on the right and bottom edges, you just add a little bit of color. And then you take your light Balmy Blue and you do the same thing. You're just blending the dark into the color of the cardstock, just slightly. So it's going to look something like this. And I know that looks a little rough, but as it dries, you'll see how it creates that depth that I'm looking for. So the next color I have is Highland Heather. And the Highland Heather blends are just a little dark, so I'm going to go with my Fresh Freesia. And I'm going to start with the dark color right along the edge and the bottom. There's that close-up. And then the light Fresh Freesia, just to blend it in with the cardstock color. Okay, you can start to see that one is looking really good. And then we're going to do the same thing with Flirty Flamingo. Dark on the right side and the bottom, and then light to blend that in. And there's a close-up. Okay, so if you were to cut out these detail dies, you can use the adhesive sheet if you'd like. I decided not to do that, so I'm going to share with you a little tip on how to get adhesive to the back of little dies like this. So I like to take a little bit of adhesive onto some scrap paper, and you don't need any adhesive to the back of the flame. So I'm going to hold that area, and then you just tap it. Hold on, I think I have this upside down. Yep. So make sure it's the right side, and you're just going to tap it into the glue, and the glue will stick just to the back of that die. And then you can lay it right over the color piece. And you're going to get this really fun candle. So I'm going to repeat that for the other two. I love how adding that little bit of depth to the color cardstock really creates a fun look to those pieces. So to finish off these candles, I'm just going to go ahead and add the flames. So I'm just going to place a little dot of glue on the background piece, and then use my Take a Pick tool to pick up the shape that goes on next, which is the light yellow or the larger piece. You can cut these out from any color cardstock. So whatever you have, you can use. It will match the same shape of the top of the candle, so like the flame. So you should just put it on so that that shape matches. I'll give you a close-up. So there's the large, and then we're going to do that exact same thing with the smaller piece. So another little dot right in the center. And then just place the darker yellow right in the middle. And again, just make sure the shape is going the right direction. Oh, that is going the right way. This one needs to be flipped around. Just like that. And these cute little candles are now ready for my card. Okay, and I just looked at my donuts and they're all dry and ready to go on my card. So we're going to start there. I've added dimensionals to the back of all my donuts, and I'm going to place them on a piece of vellum that is 2.5 by 4 3/4. So let's start with the purple. I liked having the purple in the bottom right corner, and I want it just to come off of the paper just a little bit, so it's a little lower. Then let's do the pink one next. This one I'm going to place not in the middle, just off to the middle, to the left a little, and up higher. It looks like my dimensional is sticking. That's okay. And then the blue one I'm adding, so it overlaps just a little bit onto the pink and maybe about the same height as the purple, maybe a little higher. Okay, so something like that when they're all together. Then I'm going to add my greeting right in the center. And I can make sure that it's nice and straight if I can see through that vellum onto my grid paper. And then we're going to take our candles. So the pink candle, which is all by itself, does have a dimensional underneath the flame. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut a skinny little piece from the edge of my dimensionals and try to tuck that under there. So I'm going to add a little adhesive to the back of each candle. You could also use tear and tape if you want. Maybe that's what I'll do for the next one so that it doesn't make a big mess. And then you're just going to tuck it underneath your greeting at an angle. Just like that. I think I will use tear and tape for the other two. It's about the right size width-wise, so it really shouldn't show if you're careful. And these candles are just about 2 inches tall from the top of the flame to the bottom of the candle. If you want, you could also put a glue dot on the back of the flame. All right, so the blue one I'm going to put in first, and just tuck it underneath. I want to see a little bit of the color peeking out from the greeting. And then I'm going to take the purple one and tuck that just a little bit underneath the blue one so that there's a little bit of a color change compared to the blue donut. So we don't want the blue on the blue. So you can see here how I've separated the two blues with that purple color. Super cute. So from here we can add this to our card. I'm just going to put some adhesive behind the elements on the back of the vellum. And then this just goes near the bottom and centered from left to right. You could use a ruler if you want to make sure it's nice and straight, but I think that looks good right there. And then if you'd like to add a couple embellishments, I did take the Pearlized Enamel Effects in white again, and I've added just a couple little details and dots to the candles into the background. So you can just put them wherever you want. You can make them bigger by squeezing out a little bit more. You can go a little bit smaller on some. Okay, so this card is all done. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. I would like to offer the birthday candle SVG file to you for free. All you have to do is use this special link to download it at no charge. Get the link to the free file in the description below at the very bottom. Well, thank you so much for watching me create this fun card today. If you're interested in getting your own Stampin' Up! Products so that you can make fun greeting cards like this one, please use the links in the description box below to shop. If you would like to see written instructions or close-up images on how I created this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.